to another lawyer reacts to People's Court. This one is a plaintiff suing her ex-boyfriend, who was also her roommate, who didn't pay rent. So this is actually a pretty common dispute. So let's just get right into it.
This is the plaintiff, LaQuasia Gant. She says the defendant, her boyfriend of 2 years, owes her money for rent he's not paying her. And she's had it with his lies. He also stole money from a bank account. And the buck stops here and now in this courtroom because she's suing the scoundrel for all of the $4,452.56 she's owed.
Okay, so this is one of those like People's Court that are on the higher end of the amount. But she's accusing him of not paying rent. It's her boyfriend, so I can't tell if she lives with him. I don't know if it's her place or not. We'll find out. But also, he was stealing money out of her bank account, which I don't know if it's a joint bank account. We'll see. Already two very not good things against this guy.
This is the defendant, Anthony Scott. He says he never lived with the plaintiff and she has no right suing him today. He thinks the plaintiff's suing him because she's mad their relationship went bad, and he simply doesn't have the time for her anymore. Owe her all his money? No way. He's accused of doing a lover wrong.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Okay, that's already not really a defense. Like, I don't have time for her and we broke up, therefore I shouldn't have to pay her. I'm very curious how this went down. Even if you're in a relationship and things involve money, you should probably have it in writing. Even if you're boyfriend and girlfriend, if it's supposed to be that you're paying something like rent, you should have between yourselves, like roommates or something, some sort of agreement who pays how much money for what, how much rent, how much utilities, etc. Just a good idea. Doesn't matter at what point you are in this relationship. If you're not married, it's not always presumed things are going to be paid equally between the two of you.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff says her boyfriend owes her money and stole it from her bank account to boot. But the defendant says she's just a jilted lover. It's the case of Cash Me Outside.
Thank you, Douglas. LaQuasia again?
Yes.
Okay, you're suing Anthony Scott, your former boyfriend, for $4,452.56 that you say he owes you in rent, money he stole from you, and bank overdraft charges. What happened?
I met the defendant like 2 years ago, and we started dating in August. So we got into a relationship. After that, he had some issues with his apartment. He said that the sewage came up, so he was looking for an apartment in Jersey. He couldn't find one. I explained to him, okay, well, since you can't find one, you can come here, but you have to help me pay the rent half and half. He agreed. He came.
I'm going to point this out again. When you're in court, be very mindful of what your facial expressions are. He's here, he's like bouncing around, he's rolling his eyes. That doesn't look good before the judge. Be very, very mindful if that's how your personality is anywhere outside of the universe besides the court. Because in the court, all of these things matter.
Came to live in January.
Of what year?
Of 2016.
Okay.
He was paying the rent. And then in October, well, September he was late. He paid September and October. And October he just didn't pay rent. October, November, December.
Wait, he paid the month of September, he paid it in October, and
Yes.
then according to you, he owes October, November, December, January, and February.
Yes, ma'am.
What happened in February?
February, he wasn't paying rent. The rent wasn't getting paid. But he told me, he was like, okay, I'm going to give you $1,000 this week, and in 2 weeks I'll give you another $1,000, and then I'll pick up the rest. I said, okay. But me and the landlord, he told me, he was like, we're not going to sign another lease. I said, that's fine. You will have to move out. I was like, well, can I move out in March so this can stop? He told me, yes. I said, I won't be penalized.
I know I'm pausing this a lot, but just a caution when you do payment plans like that. You should never let any sort of debt owed to you, whether you're a landlord or it's a personal friend debt, amount that many months, because then it gets to this point, I'm going to pay you $1,000 and I'm going to pay you $1,000. And the first $1,000 will probably either come or it'll be less. Oh, I'll pay you the difference in the next $1,000. And then the next $1,000 actually never comes. So he didn't pay October, November, December, January, February. So that's 5 months he hasn't paid. It's almost half a year he hasn't paid. She's the leaseholder, and now she's in hot water with the landlord. The landlord goes, hey, I don't want to renew your lease. You're not paying rent, or you're late with rent. So when you have some sort of payment arrangement or someone's supposed to pay in installments, either their portion of the rent, or maybe you lend your friend money and said, okay, you're going to pay this back. You need to be careful on who, one, you have as a roommate, or two, you lend money to. Because when you get it that far in arrears, now she's in trouble with the landlord. The landlord doesn't want them anymore. And I caution people, when you have roommates, you have to really vet who your roommate is going to be. She met the guy, he was having troubles in his apartment. The sewage backup may have actually been a legitimate issue in his apartment, or he could have just been making it up because he didn't want to get evicted and would rather move in with her and potentially cut his rent in half. But also, it's his girlfriend, so she's not going to probably kick him out or evict him, so to speak, the way an actual landlord would. So it seems like maybe he was possibly trying to skirt his responsibility.
The landlord said yes. I explained this to the defendant. I said, listen, the landlord said we have to be out by March 1st. He said, okay, no problem. He was going to
Actually, I've read the text. He didn't say, okay, no problem. What he said was, where are we going to go, Quay?
Yeah, he's
Right.
Well, but eventually he said,
Yeah.
okay, no problem, because
Right.
he left and he went somewhere else.
So did he pay you that $1,000?
No,
Did he pay you that other $1,000?
no,
Right. So he lived there rent-free then how long?
5 months.
All right. Now, according to you, he also stole money from a safe?
Okay, we had a safe in the apartment. The plan was to put money for the move. So I gave out $1,000 to put in the safe.
Why would you give him any money when he owes all that money?
No, this was before he owed the money.
Right, but no, how could it be? Because you didn't know you were moving in September.
No, we knew we was going to move into our own place. I had a
Right.
roommate at
So
that time.
when did you put the $1,000 in the safe?
I put it in, I think it was April.
And how
we
did
was
that
going to
moving
move
money not
together.
then become rent money so you wouldn't get evicted? Why didn't you just...
I asked him, I was like, well, give me the $1,000 that's in the safe, and I'm going to pay it. You know what he told me? He said the warrant squad was going to come after him, so he needed to pay the $1,000 to them. I'm like, no.
Wait, the warrant squad?
The warrant squad, because
For what? He had a warrant out for his arrest?
No, he owed tax money. I said, that's not how taxes go. They just garnish your tax check.
And then what happened? So he took the money to pay his taxes?
That's what he told me.
Okay. If you're dating somebody and they have a lot of excuses and then they tell you the warrant squad is after them, which I've never even heard that term, but someone's after him, you might not want to make them your roommate several months later, because it looks like in April she knew about this issue, but then they became roommates and they moved in together, or he moved in with her in September. So already mini red flags. Red flags are red flags for a reason. Do not ignore them.
And who put money into that safe? Had that, like, who was putting the money into the safe? Both of you?
The only money that was ever in the safe was the $1,000 I put in there. He already used it.
All right, now what is this $827 in bank overdraft fees? How could bank overdraft fees reach almost $1,000? Who's
Yes.
minding the store here?
We have a TD bank. I have a TD bank account. He was using my TD bank account.
Meaning what do you mean by using it? He could write checks?
He was writing
Oh, you
checks.
put him on your checking
No.
account?
I was the only one authorized to be used.
So
this
how
account.
was he using it?
Everything was in my name.
So would you give him an ATM card? What'd you do?
He had my ATM card.
Okay, because you gave it to him.
Right.
You didn't steal it.
No.
Oh, okay. So then you give him your ATM card, and he overdrafts how? By taking too much money out of the ATM?
He took money out of the ATM. He set up payments that he never paid. He had his school loan, his QVC account.
Okay, but I have a question for you. How does it get to $827? That's over the course of how long?
in that 2 weeks.
I need to see the bank records, please.
No
What
problem.
the heck is going on?
Nah, what happened is that I wrote every 2 weeks I got payments arrangement, right? So pretty much I lost my job. They gave me my last check in a paper form.
Yeah, because you told them to.
Yeah.
But you'd taken money out of the account.
Yeah.
So you left it with an $800 deficit,
Yeah.
$827 deficit. So you acknowledge you owe that.
Yeah, I know that.
Let's talk about the money that she says she put in a safe so that you two would have moving money and that you then use for your own personal use. Is that accurate?
It's not accurate.
Okay, tell me.
I actually had I knew a scenario about this. It was actually a former friend of mine, but they had moved into a place together. And then the boyfriend, as soon as they moved in the place together, like within a couple of weeks or maybe within the first 2 months, he quit his job and never got a job. I think the 2 years that they lived in the place together, just never got a job again. Was able to somehow manage to come up with his rent, though their rent was pretty cheap at the time, but just never got a job again. So this is not unheard of on either side, a boyfriend or a girlfriend moving in and then all of a sudden just not being employed anymore and not working. He moves in with her, loses his job. Don't know why he lost it, but then is just using her bank account to pay for all of his stuff. He might have lost the job on purpose. He might have actually quit the job. Who actually knows here? But you, again, pick your significant others very wisely. This is not so much a tailboat landlord-tenant dispute because they're a tenant-on-tenant dispute, but it's more like a cautionary tale about relationships.
This is how AI optimizes my schedule. This meeting got canceled.
He also doesn't seem to have any remorse about it. Okay, I didn't pay something, fine. That's not cool.
So how long do you date somebody before you start commingling funds?
I think it's all about trust.
Well, no, I want to know how much time do you have to wait?
As long as it takes to sign the prenup.
Okay, but suppose they're not getting married. I mean, give me a time. A year, 6 months, what?
At least 1.5 years.
A year and a half, okay, 18 months.
Probably 2 years.
Yeah, I think she's smarter than a year and a half. I really do. Going inside the courtroom.
She gave me the money.
I don't think anyone should be commingling funds unless they're married. And even then, a lot of people have separate bank accounts. I don't think it's a trust issue thing. People probably just have separate bank accounts for the reason of they maybe have different jobs. So I'll put my money here, you put your money here, or they've had separate bank accounts before they got married. I've never had a joint bank account. I don't plan on getting a joint bank account with anybody. But I can see, I guess, the benefits of it if you're married and you're paying, household stuff out of it. But I don't think there's a timeline of when you would get something joint. In this case, your boyfriend and girlfriend, and he's already not very serious and very early on has had trouble maintaining his finances and, quite frankly, just being honest. So the answer to me would be never. You never have joint bank accounts with people that you're dating.
Gave me the money. I put it in the safe, whatever. I did use it to clear off some debt, and I was on.
Did you tell her that you?
Yeah,
not after
that's
the
what
fact.
I'm saying.
Did you ask her for the money to be able? Did you say, "Can I use that money to pay off my debt?"
We play with bread all day.
Say it again.
We play with money all day, so the $1,000 is nothing between us.
That wasn't my question.
Yeah.
I didn't ask how much cash you roll with. That's the answer to how much cash do you roll with. My question to you was before you took her cash, all right, that was in that, because she says that was her cash. Is that true? Okay. Before you took it to use it for yourself, did you ask her?
Yeah, she knows. This is way in the beginning of the year.
Okay. So she's just wanting that money back now because you guys broke up?
Pretty much. And she think I'm a, rob or something like that. And I'm like...
What about the rent money?
I always pay my bills, miss. Always.
Okay, first of all...
it's a bad habit.
Wait,
it is a bad habit.
It is a bad habit. And if I was a male judge, would you say buddy?
Nah.
Okay.
I apologize.
So it's judge, not miss. But let me ask you a question. I always pay my bills. You want a cookie? Because that's what you're supposed to do. My question is, did you pay that bill? Were you supposed to be paying rent? And did you pay it?
Up to, what, November?
Okay. So don't use slang. I like how he says there's a lot of bread, be messing with bread, meaning I guess they're messing with money, meaning they have a lot of money between them, though he doesn't. He's not paying rent. He didn't have the $1,000, never paid back $1,000, depleted her bank account to the point she was overdraft $800. So I'm not thinking the guy is rolling in dough right now. Don't call the judge Mr. or Miss. Call them Your Honor or Judge. And he, again, doesn't seem like he's taking any responsibility. He goes, I pay my bills. then has to further clarify, well, then I stopped. So you're not paying your bills. So all in all, not boyfriend material, not roommate material. And I have a feeling he's going to have to pay this money back to his ex-girlfriend.
Did you pay October and November?
To my knowledge, I paid up to October.
Do you have proof that you paid October? Because
I just give her cash, like here. I just give her cash and walk away. She handles all
Okay,
the
but then
bills
why
and
did you
everything.
stop giving money for rent? October, November, December, January, February, 5 months you weren't paying any rent.
Because truthfully, we wasn't paying the rent.
She was paying her part of the rent.
She paid her part of the rent after January.
Let me see your,
She can give you the rent receipt. I know it's after January.
well, either way, I mean, she's still paying
on
it
top
more
of
than you
that-
are.
On top of that, her rent situation is really
Why were you
between
guys
her-
not paying the rent October, November, December?
Wow.
Okay. He's about to say it. The rent situation is between her and him. You're living with her. That's not free. If you're moving in with her, you got to pay your portion of the rent. It's not my problem. Again, that's irresponsible. I don't understand. First, all of him is irresponsible. The entire attitude he has is irresponsible and annoying. But it's not a problem of like, that's her problem because, it's with her and the landlord. No, you're also living there. The agreement was you were going to pay rent. Then all of a sudden you stop paying rent. That this is to be like, oh, well, it's her problem because she's on the lease is not an excuse.
Yeah, why?
But we was too busy going out.
Who was?
We was.
Where were you going?
We used to go all over the place.
Like what?
They're not.
Are you trying to be a jerk?
No,
Like
I'm
you're
not
trying
trying to
hard,
be a
or
jerk.
does it come naturally? Why didn't you guys pay the rent?
All of this wasn't a problem until we broke up a couple of months ago. Then she found out that the overdraft fee happened like a couple of months ago.
Okay, but so why didn't you pay back what you overdrafted? And why didn't
That's
you?
the thing. That's the thing. I showed her that I had her money cash. I showed it to her.
What good does that do? Why don't you give it to her, not show it to her?
I was asking her to meet me downtown Brooklyn.
Because you guys were broken up
we
already?
We was broken up, and it's like I was trying to save what little we have. Like, trying to get her attention because she completely cut me off.
So the reason, right, she cut you off because she thinks you're a loser who doesn't pay his bills. And so you were holding her hostage, because I read the text. You wanted her to meet you, and you would only give her the money if she met you. And if she didn't meet you, you weren't going to hand her the money. How much money was it that you were going to hand her?
What, cash? 18.
And why 18?
This is like 2018 maybe. I don't know how, like, this video is not that old, but I don't know when this whole thing went down. Just sell her the money. If she's broken up and wants nothing to do with you, but you owe her money, which wasn't really a problem. It's a problem because you owe it. It's a problem until you stop owing it. But just give her the money. Or sell it to her. Get a money order, mail it to her. But like this insistence that like, well, I want to give it to her to meet and I showed her the cash. I get it's convenient here. Here's the money. Not sure why everybody's rolling in cash in this scenario. Like, does the guy not have a bank account of his own? Does he not know how to write a check? But like this whole running with cash thing is bizarre, but I get it. Sort of. But if she didn't want to see him, I wouldn't blame her. Like, we broke up. She had to move out of her apartment. Might have been her fault in part and his fault in part. But yeah, we broke up, we moved out, and I don't want to see you, but you owe me money. But it's a whole blasé attitude about it. Like, I haven't done anything wrong. It's bizarre.
To cover
Her
what?
bank fees and the $1,000 she that I took from her, which I
thought you said you didn't know her that.
which I acknowledged.
Right. So you do acknowledge $1,000. All right. And then, so what is your defense on the rent?
I showed her that I had her money. Just meet me downtown Brooklyn. You're mad at me. You're mad at me. All I ask you is just talk to me. All this could be an iron out without going through the courts.
Ironed out how? I see in your text how you're telling her, I love you. You can't just dump me like this. What? That's it? We're never going to talk
I love
again?
this woman like crazy.
Why did you dump him?
It was going nowhere.
Why'd you dump him? Because he owes me like almost $5,000 and he just makes all these excuses. Like, why would you not dump him?
I was just giving, and I guess I finally woke up like I don't have to give no more.
But
and then it just
some
went
things
down the
happen,
roof.
and I couldn't
Okay,
contact you to reach
please
you
stop,
to
because
say
I'm
what's
not a
going
marriage
on.
counselor. I truly don't care. I'm trying to discern a defense, and I hear none. I'm ruling in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $4,452.56.
Now that I'm looking at the back of his head, I'm pretty sure his, like, hair is a spider. That, I mean, like, I don't know. I don't feel any way about it, but I'm looking at it. I couldn't figure out why there's so many lines. I think it's a spider. Okay. Choose your significant others wisely. If you've been dating for a couple of months, don't move in together. Don't give someone your ATM card. Don't give someone a credit card. Don't make them a joint authorized user in any of your accounts. Don't do any of that. And if someone stops paying rent for several months, which it's hard, it's easy to say, hard to do, but like kick them out if they're your roommate. Dating is hard. This is a learning lesson for everybody. And this happens like way more than I think it does, but I hear these stories and I try to, like, even in like my own personal life, like friends or my siblings, I go, yo, these are red flags. Don't play that game with anybody. Okay, that's it. That's all I have to say on this one. If you like this one, you can check out my other reaction videos. If you are into real estate or a landlord, you might want to sign up for my weekly newsletter. It's free and it's full, very informative information. Informative information with redundant information and real estate related news. Other than that, I will see you in the next one.